Thank you so much for staying with the News Diary. We continue with our coverage, and former presidential candidate and businessman Jimmy Wanjigi is currently on Spice FM, where he is having a discussion, among other things, on the economic crisis, especially the weakening Kenyan shilling. Let's cross over live and listen in.
5 billion. Correct. Okay. In that 5 billion, what we were supposed to do as the government of Kenya was to finance 10%
of that amount.
Yes.
Yes.
And you now looked at how the payments are being made.
Yes.
Every time China Road and Bridge will hit a milestone, an agreed milestone, they would present a certificate of completion to Kenya Railways.
Correct.
Kenya Railways would confirm that indeed you have actually hit this point and you are due to be paid. They present that to the treasury.
Yes.
The treasury says, all right, so here is our 10%. Kenya Railways pay China Road.
Yes.
And then after that, they send the same to China Exim Bank.
Yes.
And then China Exim Bank pays
The 90%.
the 90%.
Correct.
To China Road and Bridge construction.
Correct.
Total.
Yes.
Okay. In total, you say that
Our 10% contribution.
our 10% contribution should have been 47.5 billion shillings.
Correct.
We ended up paying 644 billion shillings. That's what
Correct.
you find in the books.
Correct.
The books of the National Treasury.
Yes.
And Exim Bank paid China Road how much?
$5 billion.
$5 billion. 500 billion shillings, let's say.
Roughly.
For roughly that.
Different exchange rates.
So then $500 billion should have been a 90% contribution.
Yes.
644 billion shillings, 500 billion shillings should have been a 90% contribution.
Yes.
644 billion shillings should have been a 10% contribution.
Yes.
Now, simple mathematics,
Yes.
644 is more than 500.
Correct.
There's no way 644 can be a 10% contribution
Correct.
in Mchango,
Correct.
and 500 billion is a 90% contribution to the same Harambe.
Correct. Correct.
Are you sure, Jimmy? Are you sure that we paid 644 billion? Because if we indeed paid 644 billion, then we are the ones who paid 90%.
No, we didn't pay 90%. We paid over 100%.
Essentially,
Over 100%.
Essentially, it means we could have built this railway without that money.
Yes. We didn't need a loan.
Without Exim Bank.
Yes.
We didn't need it. If we could fork out
In
that
fact, we
amount,
could have built it all the way to Kisumu without a loan.
Is it captured elsewhere in the Auditor General's reports
No.
of those years?
No.
644 billion
No.
shillings.
No. Well, it
How
is.
come?
It is self-raising finance. It's put there self-raising finance. As
And-
I keep telling you,
and the total
people
is
are not
captured.
doing the math. You just need to calculate.
So in the
I'll give you all the documents
in the
if you want.
Auditor General's reports,
Yes.
if you do the total,
Yes.
from the Auditor General's reports, 644 billion will appear
Yes.
as our self-raising
Yes,
finance.
I will show you. You'll see it very clearly. I've got zip files. I'll give them to you.
Does-
These are documents, and we made sure we have downloaded them. This is just simple math. People are not doing math here. We have a big problem. Simple math. And you're asking why we have problems. You're asking why we have problems. We are saying conservatively, over 700 billion shillings has been put in somebody's pocket. You see this expressway? It cost about 100 billion shillings.
Yeah, should have been 80.
When I look at it, right, because it's a PPP by China Road and Bridge,
Yeah,
guaranteed by Kenyans.
yes.
That is just money laundering of our money.
How?
But if you have been paid over 700 billion above your cost,
You need to bring it back.
you just
into
bring
the
it back to
system.
wash it.
What did you just
And
say?
you legitimize it.
You've connected the two now.
Yes. You wash it.
A step back. I want to be very sure. This
Eric,
644.
Please, I beg, please, sorry.
Okay, you asking.
Wait. This 644. Let's say that the 644, right? Remove the 10% from that 644. Oh, you're not.
No, why?
Okay, 644 on its own.
Is 10% is what is
Supposed to be.
supposed to be.
It's what is supposed to
I'll
be,
tell you the
47.5
wording
billion.
exactly from the National Treasury.
Okay.
National Treasury grant, Kenya Railways, self-raising finance
Okay.
contribution.
Understood.
That's all.
The 10%. Got it. Now, what you're saying is that this money has found its way round to yet another project that was overpaid in Kenya, and that's a way to launder.
In
this
fact,
money
it
that
hasn't
was
been
paid.
overpaid. You see, for this expressway, we never paid from our shillings. We only paid our shillings, our tax revenue, paid for what were called some of the works down there. I don't know. NMS was doing some works,
3 billion.
which was also looted to a very large extent, according to the numbers we are seeing. But the actual construction of the expressway, right, was so-called an investment by China Road and Bridge,
to be recouped.
estimated at about
27
100
years.
billion shillings, to be recouped over 20-something
27
years.
27 years.
What you may not know is that it's also guaranteed by the Kenyan government.
Yeah.
Right?
If we don't use the road, our taxes pay.
Pay.
Okay.
Now, here we go. 100 billion is, if you've made 700 billion, what is 100 billion? Yeah, now you're cleaning it. Are we together? Are we on the same page, Do?
We are.
Okay, good. Now, this, you see, unless you understand the concept of all this as a massive crime scene of monies that are unimaginable to most of us, okay, you will not get to the crux of this problem. If you think it's an issue of the president flying to France like he's going this week, and that's a big thing because he's using money, that's nothing. That is nothing. We have a very big problem here. And it's a problem loaded on us, right, of so-called a shortage that we are not going to envisage it for the next 60 years that we are carrying today. Right? It is slavery around our necks.
So
Okay?
why-
We will never come out of this.
I hear what you're
I've now
saying.
given you just 2 examples.
Yeah. And okay, obviously,
All right?
you've
I
given us
gave
two
you
examples.
I gave you Eurobond.
Yeah.
I've given you this, and we are still trying to cover the 6.5.
And obviously, from what you're saying,
We're not there yet.
Jimmy, then there's a possibility that there are other things like this which is
Oh, very many.
just under
No,
the
we have them
surface,
all.
We have to hit 6.5 trillion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at some point.
We've
Yes.
only done like a billion.
Yes.
The question
1.6 now.
Yes.
The question is, when you're telling us these things, they're hitting us in the face, blow after blow. But then I have to ask that why has this not come out before? Why has it not come out with the details, that you're giving? Because I would, if anybody were in a position of the legislature, for example, who is supposed to be asking these questions once they've been flagged by these 2 offices of the COP and the AG, Auditor General, and would ask these questions as well, where did this money go? The legislature then is the one who's supposed to pick up the baton and say, excuse me, where is this going? So why have we not heard this? Why is it not being exposed? Because this is exposure par excellence in terms of what is exactly happening.
The one thing that I think you must also not avoid is your also as the media's responsibility in this. We can blame Parliament. The Kenyan public choose those parliamentarians, so they should blame themselves, not the parliamentarians. We elect a president. We should blame ourselves because he didn't do his homework and he's telling us now he can't meet his promises. We have constitutional office holder called the Auditor General and the Controller of Budget. The Controller of Budget I watched last week before the dialogue committee in Yakango is somebody who is crying for help. You could see she's crying for help. She's singing. I mean, who knows how many offices she has not sung in? Who knows who is not visiting her office and telling her, you better just sign this thing.
She is telling
This thing
Parliament.
may sweep you long before you do whatever. She is crying for help, even media help, and you don't get it. The only thing you get out of all she said was she's talking about her salary being twice, because maybe that's all you understand. Her salary being posted twice. That is not the problem. It's nothing. The big problem is what she said. We are Fulizaing to go and drink at the bar. She's crying for help. And even the media is not listening. So I think we all need, as Kenyans, to take responsibility. Right? We can't shove it to one side or the other. We must take responsibility. Because this pain is going to continue. It is not ending. And let me give it graphically, because this is another figure I would have liked to have brought up earlier. Graphically to our lives going forward. Because of so much money going to debt, every time our exchange rate is dropping, the same COB has said 1 shilling increases debt by 40 billion shillings. Drop. A shilling drop. 40 billion. That is never going to end. It's increasing by the day. On top of that, just to show you how it directly comes to our lives with something called mafuta. Mafuta. One of the things that CT's friend brought up was a formula called LC for the purchase of mafuta. I know you CT's friend.
Nice.
Right? Said, in order to stop the slide of the shilling, right? There is this big demand for mafuta dollars every month of $500 billion that goes out.
Yeah.
Right? We have now done what is called credit facility forward, 6 months.
Yeah.
Right? So after 6 months, we pay. You know, the greatest thing about that CT is that at least we can sort of predict the fuel price. Right? Because I can tell you it has now very little to do with the spot price. Right? So what we took in March at a spot price of $82, right? The shilling was at 127. We are paying in September. The spot price was 80. It had gone down. But the fuel price increased to us at the pump. Why? Because of the exchange loss.
Yeah.
All right? So, in September, the shilling was 153. Not 153, sorry. In
September.
In March,
It was 120.
it was 139. Now, yes, this is actually from EPRA. EPRA had estimated in September. You guys are busy talking about 150 now. EPRA, if you see its sheet that it brought out on price changes, they estimated the dollar at 153. Right? That's a difference of 13.64. That is taken to us at the pump. All right? Okay? The following month, we are paying April. April was, the dollar was 138. The estimated in October, we are paying April, 6 months. So March to September, April, October, right? May, November, unaona?
Yeah.
Mpaka March next year. Then we've taken a new contract, right? So March next year, April next year, we'll be paying what we have taken in September this year. You look at the exchange rate variation. So you can estimate the appreciation every month. All right? Are we together, City? Okay? Because the dollar exchange loss is passed on to us at the pump. Okay? So it was 211, right? Because of exchange loss, it goes to 222. They said they're giving us stabilization, came to 217.
17.
All right? Higher. What do you think is going to be this month? This month, we are paying what we took in May. In May, the dollar was at 141. The estimate this month is that in November, when we come to pay, I think next week, it's going to be at 159. All right? That's a difference of 17.86
to the dollar.
to the dollar. The pump price is 217. It will be interesting to see how they maneuver away from a price of 230. All right? And you can extrapolate this all the way until September next year. So mambo ya mafuta, okay, is sealed until September next year. And people are crying about mafuta. All I can tell you is that it will keep appreciating.
It will go up.
It will keep going up every single month. Mpaka it will reach 300 and beyond. So when Moses Kuria said every month, every 10 shillings, he was even being conservative. And why is our shilling dropping?
Quote my friend again.
Why is our shilling dropping? Where is all our money going?
So why is it dropping?
Where is all our money going?
To paying debt?
Yes.
It is.
We're not producing.
Well, at 70%,
Yes.
in terms of everything
We're
you
not
get,
producing.
70% goes towards the payment of debt.
Correct.
If we look at the latest numbers, and we're looking at about 15% then going towards recurrent expenditure.
Correct.
And then you
that
only have
debt-
about 12% left that's then supposed to go towards everything else that the country needs.
Of
Including county.
Absolutely.
Of these debts, of what percentage are domestic?
50%. 56% here. But no, 54. We're under Ghana. Ghana was 56%.
That's for 54.
Yeah.
And that one is, denominated in Kenyan shillings.
Yes.
But the other 46 is what's killing us because it's dominated on the dollar.
Yes. But of that, right, it's not the bilateral ones.
The commercial one.
It is the commercial ones. These trade and development can
What are
tell you
these,
5
12,
billion.
18?
5 billion. Yeah, those are crazy. Those 5 billion, the euro bonds, those are the ones killing us. Those ones, high interest rate, high rate, those are the ones killing us. If you look at what came from the bilaterals, World Bank, IMF, and so on, it's, those are affordable. Those are probably about 12%. Those are affordable. It's these others that were taken, we don't know what they went for.
These percentages.
We don't know what they went for.
The big commercial ones.
Yes.
The moment you're dealing with the billions, even if someone said 2%, it's a lot of money. The
Correct.
moment you go to 2 digits, you're talking 10.
Correct.
It's a colossal amount
Correct.
of money.
Correct. It's this. You see, we are paying a loan and we funded the project from our pocket and beyond. This is the problem.
I'm still stuck on that, Jimmy. We have paid 644
From
billion
our pocket,
shillings
from taxes.
our taxes
Yes.
towards SGR.
Yes. For a construction of 475 billion.
So we even paid more,
Yes.
and yet we still took a loan of 5 billion.
Yes.
For what?
This money, 644, would have taken the rail, even with all this elaborate building, all the way to Malaba, to Kisumu and Malaba. With our money. We didn't even need a loan. I was doing it for 55, but I was not going up in the sky. Right? That's what I'm trying to say. If we do not address this massive theft, this crime scene called the treasury, I can assure you, there's no amount of taxes, there's no amount of beating us on our heads that is going to solve this. There's no stabilization, because I hear the government say, we have stabilized. They've stabilized nothing. Look at the exchange rate. Look at cost of living. There's nothing stable here. Look at debt. They're taking more debt. If they were stable, why would they be taking double the debt that Uhuru even took last year? Right. They've not stabilized anything.
The question is going to come at you, Jimmy, and I think also necessary for you to clarify, is that would you go into digging all of this had you been had you been the one who got the contract to then be able to do this work, then we would not have heard about any other uncovering of anything that might be going on in government.
You see, the key thing you need to understand is that I am a businessman. A businessman, right, does not operate on the basis of theft. That's criminality, right? So you look at return. I had done a project that was pure business, right? We are investing. I'm not taking tax revenue, right? I'm taking an asset, right, under a project called PPP, enhancing it in a partnership. Kenya Railways, you own this valuable land, right? Come and be a shareholder. We are investing. We even had a company that was going to do the rolling stock and the management.